guys, it's SJ. Happy Baby Name Monday. Welcome round. Today's video is a baby name list. Of course, I do baby name lists every single Monday here on YouTube. So if you love baby names, if you're naming a baby, do hit subscribe and follow along. Join in our community. So you guys have been joining in all week over on the community tab. All of the subscribers, everyone here is so lovely. So yeah, I'd love to have you as part of our community. Today's video is a little different because I've been looking at some statistics this week. As you know, I report each year on the kind of most popular name lists here in the UK, and one massive trend that I noticed that I just kept coming back to was this trend of fast fashion names. So traditionally names sort of hang around for around like 100-year cycle until they kind of start getting back into fashion. But some of the names that have been storming up through the charts the last 2-3 years are already on a steep decline, and I feel like this is a new trend that's going to be happening. Maybe names are going to have a much faster life cycle, the same as music, culture, fashion. You know, there's a lot of in and out, isn't there, at the moment? So these are the names that are fastest dropping names from the popular name lists. They're going straight out of style, so I would say you want to avoid them for 2021 if you're after a fashion name. So I wanted to get your point of view on this. Skip forward if you just want the names, but I've asked you guys if you've noticed this trend, and a lot of you have over on my community tab. Thank you so much. I love reading all your comments and your thoughts. So the reason I love names is because they are so connected to culture and the changes that you see through the seasons. So you had some great theories as to why this is happening. So Sleepy Tiger, hey Han, is saying, is globalization a factor? Now that we have absolutely everyone's opinions and perspectives on names, and the things fall out of fashion. I think that is so true. Like before, the names that hung around for years and years and years are when we basically had things like the Bible or royals talking about the UK as our main inspiration of names, and these are the names that everyone chose, and there was much less variation of names on the chart. So definitely now that we can see everybody's names, we've got a lot more input, but it goes both ways. It also means that things can kind of quite quickly go out of fashion. So Lucy is saying that people nowadays want more original names, so they do go for something a bit alternative. However, when a name then becomes super popular, they're not interested in it anymore. And I think that's so true. Like there's a massive push towards uniqueness, and the new generation coming in, we want to stand out, we want a special name, we want something that's not overused. And I think a lot of us are hung up on ourselves growing up being like one of 5 Jessicas in our class or something, and really wanting that stand out, but also stand out on social media. So a lot of you are saying that maybe it's certain locales. So obviously we're a global gang here. So these are the UK names, but definitely some names stick around for much longer. And Albie is saying that, you know, she agrees with the comments regarding things like Netflix. We've seen Netflix really influence our names as show or film becomes so popular. It's top of mind, parents choose the name, and then it ends and we move on to the next thing. So we're a lot more quicker with our choices, and it does mean that for names you could end up, you know, absolutely loving a name, but you've got to remember you've got to love it for life. Like, don't choose an Ugg boot, choose a classic black boot if you want it to stand the test of time, is basically what I'm saying. But saying that, this is a bit awkward, this video, because one of my children's name is on it and my niece's names and one of my best friend's names. So yeah, here is the list. Let's start with girls. So one of the names that surprised me, because it's just started its downward spiral, is the name Harper. So we all know the name Harper from Harper 7, Brooklyn Beckham's sister. That's sad if he takes over his mum. Victoria and David Beckham's little girl Harper saw this name really surge in popularity, and normally we see celebrities, like when Cheryl Cole chose the name Bear, suddenly everyone stopped using it. It was no longer a cool choice once you seem like you're copying a celebrity, which a lot of you said. But Harper had the opposite effect. It did really go up. A lot of people also talked about, you know, it's a literary name, but it's starting its slow decline. So I wonder if that's because it's just become, like we talked about earlier, the phenomenon of it being overused now and seeming like a less original choice. The name Esme is already down by 5 places in 1 year alone, which is quite a lot. As I said, all these names have previously been going up. So Esme is one of those that I really like. It is one I've talked about as one that people find hard to pronounce, because a lot of people say Esme or Esme. and it kind of depends on where you live. But I'm surprised to see that one go out of style a little bit. Maybe it's being taken over by Isla and things like that. But Esme is going down. The name Poppy is down 6 spots, which I'm not surprised about. I know so many Poppies from, I guess, around the time that Evelina was born, my daughter, and she is 3.5. So I can imagine now that it just was a real boom name. Everyone was having a Poppy. And it's probably one of those, again, that just seems a little too overused now. Now, this name is unbelievable. This name was up last year, one of our risers, and now is down a stonking 18 places, and it is the name Summer. So my niece is called Summer. I love the name Summer. And it seems like a timeless name, but I wonder if this name is being taken over by other seasonal names, because the name Winter, I'm seeing a lot more of, hearing a lot more. The name Autumn, I'm hearing a lot more. So maybe it's just one of those. Maybe we're just getting a little bit more cozy vibes from the other seasonal names. Maybe Summer wasn't a very good one last year. It didn't last very long. The name Lila is going down only by 1, but it has been growing. So if you like the name Lila, sometimes I feel like that name is very trendy, and it has been trending for a little while now, but it might be one that kind of goes out of fashion, and I do think we're going to see a lot more of this kind of up and down, in and out of the charts over the next 5 years than we've ever seen in history before. So Lila, I can imagine being a bit of a bouncer. The name Clara is down by 2, and all these names, by the way, are in the top 100 in the UK, Clara, which is interesting because the name Lara went into the top 100. So I have no idea why Lara has come in and Clara has gone down. But another trend we are seeing is younger parents using shorter and shorter names. So maybe that's why Lara is taking over, is coming up, and Clara is going down. Interestingly, the name Heidi is down by 7 spots, which surprises me because it's a literary name. It's quite a unique name. I always think of it as a unique name because I don't know very many Heidis. I had a Heidi at school with me, and I always loved her name, and I always wished I was called Heidi because I always wanted a little Heidi bed. But it's down by 7 spots, so maybe it's losing a little bit of its uniqueness for modern parents. Beatrice, this name has been around for years as a really popularly rising name, and it's the first year it's declining now. It's down 6 spots, still within the top 100, but I think this is a case of it just being really overused. And one of you mentioned in the community tab, it's a bit like when a song is on the radio just endlessly, and then you kind of just get a bit sick of it. And I wonder if Beatrice has got a little bit of the one-hit wonder, or very, very dated. And I wonder if Beatrice is going to be a bit like the Sarah of the noughties. We still saying the noughties? Like Sarah, like my name is Sarah Jane, and there's so many Sarahs. I mean, there's just going to be tons and tons of Beatrices, and it'll be very reminiscent of this time. The name Mila is down 1, which is interesting because it was one of our fast risers last year. The name Lottie has gone down by 4. Most Lotties I know are around 6, the age 6. And again, my niece is Lottie. Both my niece's names are on here. Apart from my Swedish niece, she's not on here. But yeah, Summer and Lottie are both down, but it's okay because one of my names is on the boy list. But I'm surprised again, but I think that maybe a bit like Millie, that name was just, or Maisie, they were around a lot. The nickname names are still going up, the IE ending names, and I did a name list of about 50 of them a couple of weeks ago because they are really trending. But Lottie is no longer the poster girl for it, it's going down. And then the name Aurora. So this really surprised me because it's been trending massively, bumped into the charts from absolutely nowhere, boomed in, and now it's already down by 1. So I wonder if it's going to continue to go down and be a real fast fashion name that jumped in and jumps out just as quickly. What do you think? So I've said to avoid them, and that's because I think avoid them only if you really don't want a name that is going to date, and these names potentially could be very of their era. I believe if you love a name, you should always use it. Like, don't be put off by what other people are doing. But I do find it really, really interesting. And a lot of you guys I speak to want to be on trend or ahead of the trends, particularly ahead of the trends. We don't want to do something when it's on its decline, but then maybe in 2-3 years, they will be less popular. And again, they'd be the only Harper in their classroom maybe. So maybe hold it back for a future child if you think you're going to have some more. You know, you don't know with a name when they pop into the charts like this and they're quite popular and they boom up, whether they're going to become timeless? Like, are they going to become a high-waisted jean, or are they going to become a croc? You've got to take your risks, girls. So the boy list is really where I started, because I was doing this report for the UK press about the most popular names, and I was expecting to see a lot of these rising, and they'd immediately gone down. So the one that really stuck out to me was the name Hunter. So Hunter was one of the fastest rising names of 2018, but by 2019 it was already down 8 places in the top 100 still. So I just was really amazed that a name could just come in and out so fast like that. I'm wondering what it does next year. I was surprised that Hunter went in so much because everyone's turning so plant-based. It was surprising to see, like, with all the animal activism that's going on as well. I love the name Hunter, but I'm like a lifelong vegetarian, so it would kind of always be like a bit of a funny one for me to choose, but maybe that's why it's gone out of fashion so fast as well. Similarly, the name Reggie. Remember when we talked about the trends a year ago? If you've been around for a little while, we were talking about bad boy names, and Reggie and Ronnie had both gone right up, and Hunter a little bit, bad boy name. But again, Reggie is right down. It went down 6 spots in the top 100. So it's come in, it has gone out. It's really interesting to see that Archie has gone down 3 spots. So obviously that is our new little prince, Harry and Meghan's little Archie. We've seen names like Louis go up massively when Kate and William chose the name Louis. Charlotte always did the test of time, and what's their oldest one? And George, obviously, has been around for ages, but Archie was a bit of a different choice. It's gone down a little bit, and it might be, again, that copycat factor means it goes down again next year, that we don't want to be seen to be copying. Not that we are copying, but a lot of us, if somebody huge, like a royal, choose it, whereas in the past that would have been everyone chose it and went with it to sort of commemorate them. Now we're a little bit more like, oh, I don't want anyone to think that I'm on their turf, that I'm using their ideas. Logan has gone down 6 spots, and Ethan has gone down 5 spots. I love those names. They're very charming, boyish names, but we are seeing a rise in kind of the faster fashion names in a way. Maybe those are too timeless. We're very fickle, because you see names like Ezra coming up, and a lot of you guys are saying things like Ezra and Bodhi seem to be absolutely everywhere, but feel like fast fashion choices to you guys. But some of the more traditional biblical names are going out, whereas some of the more unique Hebrew names are coming in. So we've seen Joseph go down 7, Samuel go down 8, Reuben has gone down 2, and Caleb has gone down 10 spots. So it's really interesting, isn't it? Whereas we are seeing then those names like Ezra go on up, like Boaz being talked about a lot more. While we're still absolutely loving the biblical names, we're looking a little bit more for something a little bit unique potentially. So the name Finn has gone down 10 spots. As you know, or maybe you don't know, I have a child called Finn, and I definitely agree this was a bang on fashion name when I chose it. So I chose it at the beginning of my pregnancy, kept my lips shut. I talked about this last week in one of my baby name regrets video. And then the year that I had him, I was heavily pregnant with him, 2 other girls had babies and called them Finn in my work, just in my workplace, and there were already 2 people who had a Finn, older ones. So anyway, I was just like, oh, I loved the name, and we'd actually agreed on it already, which is tough for me and my husband. So we loved it, Freddie loved it as well, which is important, our eldest son. So I'm happy that he's got the name Finn, but I do agree that it was very fashionable for its time, and maybe if we're looking for a unique name and that's going to stand out and be like a Finn, maybe you'd want to avoid it. So the name Jackson has gone down 11 spots, and this kind of had everyone a little bit up in arms, saying I feel like Jackson's still really popular in the US. So it kind of came over here recently, I would say. Again, the last sort of 3-4 years, Jackson became really to be used. It's been so climbing up, so it's only just starting to go down a tiny bit, but it'll be interesting to see if it continues its kind of slow step out of the charts, or if it has a second wave. Oh, it's bad language to use at the moment, isn't it? But then I had a great comment over on my community tab that actually it's because of the variation in spelling. So a lot of people have moved to the X spelling and things like that, and it's got so many different spellings. It's a really good point, and one that not to forget about. Jackson might be on its way out. Oh yeah, I was going to say, because my friend Emily has a Caleb and a Jackson, so yeah. So me, Emily and my sister are not doing too well. The name Blake has gone down 12 spots. Quite a fast fashion name, Blake. It also is a gender neutral name, so maybe it's moving over to the girl charts more. And then some traditional names like Matthew, down 17 places. I'm surprised that's been around for so long, but it might be the sign that some of those more traditional names are going out of style. And Jake, a nickname name, surprisingly down 13 places. Again, that was one that was super popular. Jacob and Jake, super popular around 10 years ago when I was my eldest. There was tons and tons of Jacobs and Jakes. So it might just be like it's big brother status now and not cute little baby status. And the last one on my list is the name Harley, down 17 spots since last year, but still in the top 100. So those are the names. So what I did to choose them, just to remind you again, was it was the ones that have been going up steadily for the last few years and suddenly have gone down. So you're seeing that kind of up and down with them. I think it's really interesting. I love looking at statistics behind names and getting your points of view on it. So let me know, why do you think this is happening in the comment section below? What do you think about the fast fashion trendy names? Would you pick one? Does it worry you? Would you more like to try and find a traditional name? I've predicted that I think we'll see a swing back to more traditional names next year as a result of being through a global pandemic. I wonder if we're going to name our children a lot more after family and friends. Because we've kind of really missed people. So it might see a return of the more traditional Stephens and Roberts and Davids. Who knows? I can't wait for those lists to come out. As I said, do hit subscribe to follow along Baby Name Mondays. There is all sorts of tons of inspiration and good old name chat over here. Don't be disheartened if a name you love is on this list. Remember, it is just for fun. Choose a name you absolutely love and you will never, ever regret it, as I say every single week. Lots of love, guys. Take care, and I'll speak to you in the comments below. Bye.